Emotions. Okay, so everything that you go through, if it produces an emotion that you don't think is a positive one, then what happens is you bury it deep within your body. And what I mean by a positive emotion is a lot of people like to label good feeling emotions as good and bad feeling emotions as bad. And some people actually avoid the bad feeling emotions, so feelings of sadness, anything that makes them feel not internally good. They avoid these feelings at all cost, which means that when something actually happens externally to produce that feeling within, to make them feel doubtful or sad or, anything that doesn't feel good to them when they feel it, instead of allowing themselves to feel that emotion and therefore it can be released because you've just felt exactly what an experience produced inside you, made you feel, you felt that emotion, now it's fine, you can move on. Rather than them doing that, they literally try and feel any other kind of emotion instead of that, or they try and numb that emotion, or they talk themselves out of the fact that they shouldn't be feeling that emotion. And this is such a huge thing that happens, especially, in this society, because a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable and are not vulnerable even with their own emotions. So it only hurts yourself if you don't feel emotions when things happen. Because, for example, if something happened externally to make you feel upset, if you just allowed yourself to feel that emotion, maybe you cried or whatever, and it lasted for 5 minutes of crying, but then afterwards you felt absolutely fine because you allowed your body to release that feeling that experience caused you to feel. Okay, and this is what would happen normally if that happened. If you actually felt it and released it, that emotion wouldn't be building up in your body. So now you would feel fine moving about your life until another thing happened and caused a negative feeling inside you. Again, you feel the emotion and then you go on with your life. And you've not got the trapped emotions from those experiences stuck in your body because you've felt them and you've released them. And again, this could literally just look like 5 minutes of crying, and then after you're like, oh, I feel so good now, I feel fine, because that is exactly what does happen because you've released that feeling. But a lot of people don't want to feel those feelings because they label emotions as good and bad. So when they do feel sad or they feel like they're about to cry from something that's caused them that feeling, they try and shut it off or they try and block it out. And like I've said before, talk themselves out of the fact that they shouldn't be feeling that emotion, okay? If you do this, those emotions from that experience are still there. They don't go anywhere. Just because you've talked yourself out of the fact that you shouldn't be feeling this emotion, or, some people are like, oh, well, I'm a guy, I shouldn't be crying like this. This is just an example that I've seen before. So then they talk themselves out of the fact that they shouldn't be feeling that emotion by saying thoughts like, oh, well, this person wouldn't cry if this happened to them, or, oh, just have to like, I don't know, get on with it. Just get on with it. I'll just get on with it. But you're talking yourself out of your feelings, which cannot happen because you feel those feelings for a reason. So those feelings from that experience, because you didn't release them there and then, they still live within you. And over time, when that keeps happening and you don't allow yourself to feel those emotions at the time of an event happening that makes you sad, this is when you get boiled up. And now that sadness, because it's inside you and it's been years since that thing happened, but you still have the emotions from that experience, now because it's been inside you for so long, it's actually turned into anger, because sadness turns into anger if it's not felt there and then. So this anger will come out in places that it don't belong. Someone could say something to you, or you could become so easily triggered, and then again it's like this wants to come out. Okay, so the point of all of this is how crucial it is to feel your feelings. Oh my gosh, this is like a secret recipe. It's literally what we are. We're human beings, and if you literally feel the emotion when things happen at the time of it happening, you felt it and then you move on. You know, it's like people just are so hard on themselves and really don't have a strong sense of self. So when things make them sad, they genuinely believe that, well, I shouldn't be feeling sad, or they're embarrassed because, well, what if people see me sad, or whatever, and they really try and not be sad, but that experience is still made them sad. It's not going to change because they're putting a happy face on, or they've told themselves that it's fine. That emotion and that memory, because it's not felt, still lives within. And this is literally how trauma works. And think about the amount of people in this world, and everyone goes through trauma. Trauma looks different to everyone, okay? But trauma is trauma, and everyone goes through it because we are all human beings. We all feel emotions, okay? So this is how trauma works, and this is how it is stored in the body, okay? This is like the most basic way, well, I think anyway, of energy and emotion.